Retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is back with us tonight. And, sir, it's good to have you again. I want to start with the blockade remains, but Trump giving Iran a little more time, I guess, to figure out who's in charge.
Yeah, Rob, thanks for having me. Good to be with you. Look, here's my sarcasm. I'm shocked that they were doing something like this. I mean, you are dealing with a theocratic government that is protected by the IRGC, that is designed to protect the government and make sure the supreme leader is in charge. It is not the army, but it's got guns, and they're going to keep protecting that. Vahidi, when he comes down the line, is one of those people in charge. He's a hardliner, and you're going to have to deal with him now and figure out what you want to do with him. Do you want to eliminate him and have somebody else hardcore come in? You know, they do what's called the Mosaic Doctrine, and it was set up by years ago when they made sure that they had a defensive doctrine, now called Mosaic, which was designed to defeat the United States of America by keep putting things off and delaying negotiations. They're into that right now. I think we need to finish it. And I think President Trump is really good about having an embargo, a blockade, to cut their economic lifeline. But I would even go a little bit further. I'm one of those that says, take some land. That doesn't mean you march on Tehran, but you can take Kharg Island, which is 90% of their export of their oil. You can take the Strait Islands as well, like Iraq, which is their command and control island, or Geisha. You have the capacity to do that, and then you control it. And you break their back economically, which President Trump is in the process of doing with a blockade. But how long will this blockade go?
Yeah,
I don't know. And the fact is, these guys are resilient.
Kharg Island's already, you know, it's not being utilized, though. I mean, we're stopping any and all oil shipments coming out of Iran. So Kharg is kind of useless at this point, right? Do we need to take it, or can we just, if we keep this blockade in place, at some point, my understanding is that they can't produce oil any longer because they got nowhere to put it, and that's in the coming days, I believe. Are we kind of choking them enough?
Well, I think with a blockade, which is really good, and President Trump has it right, and economically strangling them, but how long can you keep the blockade up when you have China dying on the vines as well, and all the other export ships coming through to other nations out there? This way you actually control it by taking the heart of the matter, which happens to be Kharg Island, and you take something that is their crown jewel. And you can fly over a land all you want. You can pulverize it from the air. You can destroy it. And I was in the first Gulf War, and we had an air campaign that went on for 30 days. But after a period of time, you basically have to do what the Romans did. You put your soldiers in the mud, and you actually say, we're going to take something that's valuable to you, and we take land. Is there risk involved? Of course there is. Does it mean we couldn't get casualties? Of course there are. But this actually finishes the job, and I think that's where you want to be when you complete the job.
You think it's a mistake to pause here until Iran can, I guess, figure out who's in charge and give a proposal up? Is that a mistake? Should we be bombing tonight?
Well, I don't think we should be bombing. I think President Trump has a right with extending the blockade, which is good. But if you think these guys overnight are going to become Democrats, Republicans, Jeffersonian Democrats, you are dead wrong. They are hardcore theocratic government, which is for years and decades have chanted death to America, death to Israel. These people are not going to go away in a minute. So you must come up with a different plan to do it. We can't keep that blockade. Well, we can, but I don't think we will keep that blockade in forever. And sooner or later, China's going to start screaming about it. China's coming for a visit next month. And I'm trying to figure out a way of different doing it. The other value of taking something like Kharg Island is, why don't we establish a provisional government? And there's a lot of people out there that want to have a provisional government or different government. And then you have competing governments, and then we find out who the Army is going to support. They're twice the size of the IRGC. They do have the weapons as well. But right now, you've got the IRGC with Vahidi in charge. I don't even know whether Rachi, their foreign minister, is. And he's hardcore as well. He's actually wrote the book on negotiations, but he's not being involved. The bright light out there is actually the president, Pezeshkian, who seems to be apparently a little bit of a moderate, but he's been sidelined by the IRGC as well. You know, this is one of those things we're going to have to make some really hard calls, some hard decisions, and it's basically we need to finish the job.
And we just need to, you're saying we need to do something more drastic to strangle them out, maybe cause some kind of internal strife, revolution, something like that, make a more advanced move, take Kharg Island to force something bigger to happen.
That's kind of my take. This is we can't keep the status quo. And by the way, President Trump is bold enough and courageous enough to do something like that.
All right. We'll see what he does. We'll see how long this ceasefire lasts and how long this new general of the IRGC lasts as well, behaving the way that he is. Retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, we appreciate you coming on, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.